Hello, welcome. My name is Obeng Darko. Welcome. Please share the channel with your friends, with your family, and subscribe the channel as well to it if you have not subscribed. Today I want to share with you educated Christian African. Educated, that means an African who is educated, who is a Christian, or who goes to church. I'm just a product of that. When I was a young child, my mother would take us to church, and we got to a point I also entered different church. And when we went to secondary school, Upogwari school, it was about church. I remember when we were even writing exam, we were fasting. we were fasting, just to pray to God that He will help us to write exam and pass. The exam that we needed energy, blood to flow through our brain. we were using hunger because we're religious. We will pray before the exam, and when we come out, we will pray. Me and my friends, some of them were more like pastors to us. And then we went to university. It's the same. I joined Christian group, and I was in a choir. We used to play some keyboard in the church activities, carrying instruments and things like that. I was engineering student. I spent more on church activities as well because that was the norm. That was the norm. And so you will complete school, come out, and you go to church. So much of what we knew, what I saw on campus is that most of our Christian brothers never read any book outside the course. And if they would read any book at all, it was about maybe church, religious books. And those who extend a little will just maybe read one or two motivational books, So books that will develop skill set and technical thinking and understanding of life and of being able to produce something, thinking to structure your life, majority of us did not have. So we came out of school. I can sit here and say that majority of the people that we went to the same church went from the university. Most of them are now pastors, not working anywhere, just doing the work of God. And this is Africa. This is the Africa that we want to develop. And yet the few that we have sent to school, especially those with the technical education, majority of us who go to church now are either employed in a bank or some company, or we have traveled somewhere. And if you live here, majority of us have become full-time pastors or half-time. As a matter of fact, when my friends meet you, they would want you to say, are you in ministry? Which means that are you in a church activity? That is the norm. That is the norm. So I'm talking about educated Christian Africans. And I dare say that the way Christianity was introduced in recent times, when the Europeans came, it was introduced through the gun. It was introduced through manipulations. It was introduced through subjugation. Yeah, you can debate it, but that's the reality. All these churches that came, why didn't they stop the trading? Why didn't they boycott everything? Why did they allow the people to take advantage of our people? They sit back and took advantage, took the people, took the minerals. And the same practice is going on now. Just as those established churches from Europe came, they stay here. Some people would debate that they have done a lot of good things. I dare say that if we say that Africa has problems, then I want to know the good things that they have done. And our own people are now starting churches all over. And they pack us in churches from Monday to Saturday. Sunday is the same thing. You have barely no time to think for yourself and do anything for yourself. You are really taught not to think for yourself. As a matter of fact, right from when you go to the church, how they train you, how the schools that they have to restructure and repattern your thoughts. By the time that you are in that church for 6 months, they have really taken everything out of your mind. The school, the things that you knew, they change you. You can go there, and the next time you meet that person, his accent has changed, his hairstyle has changed, his suit, he's always in suit anyway. All his money goes to church. But all his time, all his circles are with the people who go to the church. They even tell us not to read any other book but their books. It's constant pressure on you to perform. And if you're there, and they say that most people who are there never do anything with their lives, apart from just working for the church. They lose interest in whatever goes on in our environment. You have no interest in that. You virtually have been hypnotized. It will take a lot of work for you to get out of these churches. And most of these churches in Africa are not like that. It's all about money. Extort money from the people, and don't teach them how to think for themselves. Pattern the books they read, the videos they watch. They even told us not to be on Facebook. Don't be on Facebook. Don't watch any person apart from this pastor. They teach you who to. They have to even choose marriage partner for you. And if you decide anything against them, you are the odd one out. They are odd one out, and they would have to isolate you and vilify you. And these things are going all over. Our political leaders don't say anything about them because they say that is religious activities. And some of them have even taken it extreme, where they pray over all kind of physical things to give to the people. And they believe that once they take these things, all their problems will be solved. We've been taught that every problem is a spiritual problem. Some of them even teach us miracle money, where you are dead and God supernaturally sends you money. If that is true, then why do they collect the offering? They're even traveling. They have to tell you to bring, ask for permission. It's now, I think, it's another slavery institution. It has enslaved our people. Most of us have lost our mind. And if anybody does questions it, they say that you have backslidden. It takes another force of infiltration, penetration of stronger knowledge to ever discover yourself if you've gone through this. Educated Christian and an African. Has been lethal to our very existence. The other day I was talking to a young man. He prays from morning to evening every day. He has no job. He does nothing. And yet he's so convinced that he's doing the work of God. And he was even questioning me, do you go around to win souls? And this boy, we had some little disagreement because I was telling them that, listen, you can't pray from morning to evening and making noise everywhere. People are sleeping, 2 a.m. you're praying. It's totally unacceptable. This is not Christianity. But in his word, this is all that he knows. So he thought that I was crazy. And I was attacking him. And the words that this boy was using. Fuck, nobody can tell me how to practice my faith. And this is because he's talking like that, because that's all the message that he's been exposed to. That's all that he knows about Christianity now. So there is so much, and he was so much cocky and arrogant. And I was asking him, so how can you say that you're a Christian and you are so proud and not humble at all, and you have no interest in the well-being of others, but your so-called gospel and Christianity? This is the African Christian. And it's not only about that boy. It's because of the message. The message controls your mind. It helps. The message actually programs you not to be interested in whatever happens in your country, but whatever happens around your church. And so your world actually is your church. Everything else is wrong. They don't just pray, but they also continue to shout so that everybody will hear that they are praying. This is the Christianity that Africa is going through. And I remember in the university it's the same way. We were programmed. Of course, there are others who are too extreme, but it's the same way. We don't push our people to think, to use their mind, to use data. We only say that God, everything is in the hands of God. I've actually watched and listened to a lot of messages from these preachers. And much of it, they said every problem is a spiritual problem. So when your business is suffering, it's a spiritual problem. I remember there's a friend I had who had business problems, and he asked his church leader, and he said that, have you paid your tithe? He never asked him, what is the interest rate that you pay? How do you manage your team? How have you developed the sales, the marketing? What systems are you using to manage the business? None of that contributed. Everything else that we've been taught is spiritual. This is the Africa that we have come to. And I say that if you're a graduate, start to question all these teachings. Because you will never do great if you follow these teachings. I can tell you 100%. Almost everything you will not have the ability to handle it. How can you say that if you want to do well, it's in the hands of God? And everything else, and meanwhile, when you owe people, you don't even pay. When people offend you, you don't even forgive them. You care about the pains of others, but you say that you're Christian. Not Christianity, it's Courtism, and it's a Courtism. Courtism is, a lot of manipulations. And Courtism is where a person has been raised beyond God. As a matter of fact, I think in Africa, most of these pastors and preachers, they created God. God didn't create them. They tell God what to do. And that's the teachings that they have told us. And anybody who questions these things, they say you're an enemy. We are not enemies. We're just saying that our people have been enslaved, and our governments are doing nothing about it. And when you go into a lot of these institutions, you'll be sad, where people have become architects, doctors, lawyers, who cannot think just because they go to these churches. They can go to their professional areas, and I know Christianity was weaponized by the Europeans to destroy us. And now the weapon is in another grade, where it's in the hands of the Africans, and they are using it to destroy their own people. It's not like the Europeans have left it, they still use it, and the Africans are also using it. You go to a lot of these areas, big churches in Africa, we pack them all over, every time. Now, when others are in the factory working, we are in the churches praying for God to prosper us. How does that add up? Because for prosperity is just a product of productivity. But they have told us that prosperity is in the hands of God. And yet God gave us gold in the soil. He didn't give us the gold, the refined gold. He gave us the raw gold. He gives you talent. Now use your brain to develop the talent. No, we want to say that prayer answers everything. That is deception. The same people who are telling us prayer answers everything go to the market to buy food to eat. They bath. They use their telephone. Why is prayer not doing all those things for them? It's a lie. It's just like the white man came. You go to a mina. You see that the church, they have it at the top. The people, the men were in chains. They were raping the girls, and they were telling them, pray to God to deliver you. It's the same understanding that we have had. I think that the understanding of God have been destroyed by the Europeans, and we have used it. We are using it now. You look at any preacher, he's in suit, he's in tie. He speaks like a white man. And for us, the more you look like a white man, it means that the more intelligent you are. The more you look like a white man. The average African have been destroyed in terms of self-esteem and worldview. Anything that looks like white means that it has intelligence or power. As a matter of fact, even on YouTube, most white people will not watch Africans when they talk about things about knowledge and understanding and technology. Most they won't watch. If you write books, most won't watch. If you're white, they'll watch you. And even the Africans themselves, if you talk about something intelligent, no. They don't expect their own people to teach them about intelligence. They expect their own people to just joke. So the Africans, worldwide, we have to talk about comedy and jokes and trivialities, things that will not solve our problems. And largely we also want to talk about, if you listen to our radios, we talk about politics, we talk about sports, entertainment, we talk about religion, superstition, but the very things that will help us to build a skill set, to take charge of trade, of manufacturing, of people organizing their thoughts, building businesses, because those are our main problems are what? They say that we have a lot of youth who don't have jobs. What is going to create the job? It's not praying in church. It's not the sports and entertainment. It's not the politics. The politics that we do, we just do them for games, The thinking, the structures, the engagement of things that people really need, we don't get them. So these guys will shout from morning to evening praying to God. What are they praying about? For better life. And better life is not in the hands of God. That's a wrong theology. Better life is in the quality of decisions that you make. You don't become rich because you go to church. That's a lie. You become rich because you can solve economic problems. You are not poor because there's a curse in your family. That's a lie. There's no curse in your family. If that curse couldn't kill you, what else can that? If there is indeed a curse in your family, why are you not dead? Why are you not dead? So there's a lot. There's this guy who took money. The interest was high, and then the decisions that he made on the money were wrong. The money is gone now, and he's looking at some spiritual power took the money because of the teachings from these churches. What I sometimes fascinates me is that if you preach to people, if you teach people, your product is information, is knowledge. And some of these guys cannot even read book, cannot read, cannot write, and they are teaching people. So where is the source of the information that they have? They will tell you that God will point you. No, it's not true. It is not true. They said that Jesus didn't go to school. Jesus didn't go to school and he was reading. They said that Peter stayed with a good master. If you go to the university for 3 years, at least you know something. That's all of us in bondage. And they are telling us that God is coming and you have to make heaven. If you understand the Bible well, salvation is free. Salvation is free. If you decide to say that you're a Christian in Africa and you don't go to church, everybody meets you in Ghana will ask you, did you go to church Sunday? And yet they go to work and they don't perform. So it's just going to church is like a fun. It's a game. The practice, the nature of God, God who is kind, who is loving, who is merciful, who is justice, we don't know that. We just say that we go to church. Then after church, we just come and do whatever we want. This is the Christianity that the educated people have put on us. So if you're an engineer, if you're a doctor, if you're an architect, start to use your brain. We are following most of these people who never went to any school and who have taught us things to enslave us. And when you question them, they say that you are not questioning God, you are questioning humans who can err, who can put a lot of errors in their favor. Just as the Europeans use it in their favor, our people are using it in their favor. And it's all over. You don't go to more than 5 meters without you meeting a young man who's trying to start a church. Because for you to create a business, you need thinking. And he has no exposure, he has no thinking. So the only thing that is, when you are born in church and you grew up in church, all that you can do is to start a church. Because that's all that you know. That's all that you know. We could have started churches easily. Just get a place, put the instruments there, you even play the keyboard. So what's the problem? And start to teach people and collect money. And the next time, you are a very successful, very successful man in our country. We call people who are very successful in industries that have no relevance to change the dynamics of our country. Our heroes are heroes in areas that have no value in our country. And it's a problem. And so I'll call on you, if you're an African especially, start to think, because you are the ones who will attack everything that will liberate you. The very message that will liberate you, you will attack it. And yet you know that you are living a frustrated life. A lot of Africans are living a frustrated life, especially when they are educated and they go to church. They are educated and they go to church. They've been destroyed. Because the education itself destroyed us. It made us Europeans. Our worldview is European. The examples they gave us is European. The white man is superior. We are nothing. They never gave us any examples on our heritage, on our great warriors, on people who built businesses, those who innovated. We don't know them, whether in ancient time or in now. And then we go to church, they are telling us Jesus is white, the devil is black, everybody else who does good in the Bible or who did good in the Bible was a white man. It's destroyed us. And then the education has destroyed us. And you wonder why when you finish school you want to go to America and England? Because we have no bearing to hold on to if you look at our own country. And if you become a minister, it's the same thing. You get into politics so that you can become rich. You don't care about your people. You give the contract to yourself. That's all. You build a business. Most of our successful business people, let's face it, they have connections with the government. That's why they have money. If they have to build the business from nothing, independent of government influence, most of them will have nothing. And we are because the youth, we are sitting on a time bomb. Nigeria just experienced it. It's all over Africa. The youth will fight, and we better give them tools that will help them to develop themselves and be hopeful. You cannot be born in Ghana, in Kenya, in South Africa, in Nigeria and have no hope. You don't believe that you can be successful there until you travel. It's because of what you know. And yet you go to churches. What do they teach you? Things that they teach you have no relevance. They're actually telling you, think of heaven. you can't eat here thinking of heaven. So we have a problem. You have a problem. And to liberate yourself, start to question everything that they're teaching you. And if anybody tells you not to read any other book apart from his books, don't read his book. Go and look for it. If anybody tells you that miracle money, God will supernaturally give you money, it's not true. Those are lies. We have to challenge these things because they are enslaving our people. They are enslaving our people. If anybody wants to choose a marriage partner for you, and they want to tell you that they have power to put some fractal oil on your head so that you become powerful. You have failed several times in church. What have you become? They have put so much oil on your head. What have you become? Because your life will not change until your mind is changed. If your mind is wrong, if the knowledge you are processing is wrong, nothing will change. Even if they give you millions, after a while you will lose everything. Or you become a crook. So my name is Kwabena Darko. Thank you very much. I'm talking about educated Christian African. And I'm saying that if you're in this category, you've been enslaved. You'll be enslaved. So subscribe to this channel, share the channel with your friends, and let's spread this message so that there's nothing like freedom. Living with the things that God gave you and putting them into practice. It's good to learn from people. But if they tell you that you can learn from everybody except them, and they tell you that bring money, they have the power to change your life, they have deceived you. You have the power to choose and to create the life that you want. Never let anybody take that from you. So thank you very much for watching.